Please let me know that also. Am I loud and clear to everyone? Please write some of you loud and clear. Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay, I'll start now. So I'll put the full screen now. And this is a section about the non-neoplastic lesions of lymph node as well as spleen. So we'll just have a small, introduction about the lymphoid system. So lymphoid system is a very important part of the lymphatic system, and it comprises of thymus, lymph nodes, and spleen. And the lymph node is a very important part for our immunity. Lymph originates as blood plasma, and then it accumulates in various cavities of the blood of the body. So important component of lymphoreticular system is thymus, spleen, tonsils, Peyer's patches, and bone marrow. Okay, so we will be talking about lymph nodes and spleen today. Just give me a second. Yeah. So we'll talk about the structure of lymph nodes first of all. So in your first year in anatomy and histology classes, you must have seen the normal structure of lymph node, normal histology of lymph node. You know the size of cortex, paracortex, and medulla. Cortex is the outer part, medulla is the inner part. Cortex is there beneath the capsule. So every lymph node has a capsule. Okay, and then it contains the lymphoid follicles. Paracortex is between the cortex and medulla, and this is responsible for cell-mediated immunity. Medulla is close to hilum and grows as cords, and then there are vascular architecture inside the medulla, that is sinus, arteries, and veins. Okay, so cortex and medulla contain B cells, which is responsible for humoral immunity. So the take-home message for this slide is that cortex, medulla, humoral immunity, paracortex is cell-mediated immunity. Okay, so this is the structure of the lymph nodes. So this is the capsule, because capsule is a very integral part of a lymph node. Because when you must have read about neoplasia and all, many carcinomas in the body invade the capsule of the lymph node, metastasize into the lymph node. So capsule is the first area which is infiltrated by the carcinomas, by malignancy. So this is one important point here. Suppose a patient is having breast carcinoma, and we always take out the adjacent lymph node to see if mets is there or not. So if the lymph node is very clean means no metastasis, the architecture is not effaced, and we can see the follicles. But then also the important point is that the pathologist should look below the capsule, because below the capsule you can see one or two cells of carcinoma. Okay, so that's why capsule is important. So this is cortex, and this cortex contains these lymphoid follicles. These yellow color are lymphoid follicles. This is paracortex, which is important for cell-mediated immunity, the blue area. And the red area is the medulla, which contains the sinus and the vascular architecture and the blood supply. Okay, so this is the histology. You can appreciate the capsule here. This is the capsule. These are the lymphoid follicles, dark blue color, hematoxylin stain. And here this is the medulla, and the between area is the paracortex. Okay, so primary follicles are round aggregates of lymphocytes, and secondary follicles, they contain the germinal centers and B lymphocytes. Okay. So you should also know I showed you about the histology of lymph nodes. But if you see the cytology of lymph nodes, okay, you do the FNAC of a lymph node, you can see lymphoid cells in all stages of maturation. Okay, you can see lymphocytes, you can see few lymphoblasts also, you can see centroblasts, you can see centrocytes. So this is the normal cytology of lymph node. Okay, so in structure of lymph node, the capsule is perforated by afferent lymphatic channels, and then it enters into the subcapsular sinus and branch and terminate at the hilum. Okay, so B cell area is important, and then this is how we, understand it outer to inner. B cell areas, then antigen area, then follicular center cells, then mantle cell areas, and then outside the mantle cell is the marginal zone areas. So small lymphocytes is another normal component of lymph node. So these small lymphocytes are mature lymphocytes. That is very important. I repeat again, in lymph node cytology, in FNAC of a normal reactive lymph node, we see lymphoid cells in all stages of maturation. We see mature cells, that is lymphocytes. We see immature cells, that is lymphoblasts. Okay. So small round dark blue dots, and then these small lymphocytes are round. They have clumped chromatin, and nucleolus is almost absent in them. They are B or T cells. So these small lymphocytes, mature lymphocytes, are B lymphocytes and T lymphocytes. Okay, and the main role is effector and memory. And here you can appreciate the cell architecture of these mature lymphocytes. So germinal center cells, they are non-cleaved cells, small and large type. Okay, they have round nuclei, but they are slightly bigger than the small lymphocyte. That is the important point. They have open chromatin. Small lymphocyte did not have nucleoli, right? But the germinal center cells, they have nucleoli. Okay. So this is important. Sometimes germinal center cells, again, when we do cytology of lymph nodes, we can confuse the germinal center cells, with malignant cells, one point. Second thing, these germinal center cells in histopathology can confuse us with the malignancy or a granuloma. Okay, so we should appreciate the normal germinal center cells. So we also see the centrocytes, as I told you. These are, cyte means they are mature. So they are small cleaved cells. Okay, they have clumped chromatin, and they are irregular, folded, and cleaved nuclear areas. So immunoblasts are another category of cells which are seen in the normal lymph node. They are replicating large cells. They are found outside the germinal centers. So they may be of B or T cell type, and vesicular chromatin and nucleoli is present in immunoblast. So when nucleoli is present in immunoblast, so they also can confuse a pathologist in the cytology and histology of lymph node as malignant cells. Okay, so why I am taking a lot of time in the normal structure of lymph nodes? Because these immunoblasts, these germinal center cells, they can confuse a pathologist for malignancy or a granuloma. So we should know these are normal reactive cells. These are normal component of a lymph node. Okay. So this is the germinal center. You can see here lymphoblasts. We can appreciate the macrophages. We can appreciate the follicular dendritic cells and plasma cells. So this is what germinal center look like. And now what are these? I'm asking a question. You can see these arrows in the outer circle with a blue background. There are lots and lots of cells. So can anyone of you tell what is this? I'll just see the answers which any one of you are giving. I'll see. You are saying they are B cells. Okay. I just got two answers. B cells. So you are right. B cells is also a right answer, but you should say they are small lymphocytes. Okay, they are mature small lymphocytes, and then they can be B cell type. That's perfect. They are not centroblast. They are not plasma cells. No dear, they are not plasma cells. See, plasma cells are inside in the germinal center. Centroblast will also be here, but the outer circle is having these small lymphocytes, that is mature lymphocytes. Okay. So let's go further. When I see the questions now, it's difficult to change the slide. So let's talk about the paracortex. You remember what was paracortex important for? Anyone if you type the answer? What is the most important point about paracortex? Yeah, cellular immunity. Yes, cell-mediated immunity. And I have a question. Explain the difference between centroblast and the centrocyte. Okay. So always remember that in pathology, blast is a immature cell and cyte is a mature cell, right? Like lymphocytes, small lymphocytes we are talking about, that is a mature cell. Lymphoblast is an immature cell. In a similar way, centroblast is a mature, centrocyte is mature. So what are the characteristics of a mature cell? Centroblast will have open chromatin. Centroblast will have prominent nucleoli. Centrocyte is smaller in size. clumped chromatin, and inconspicuous nuclei. Okay, so these are the difference between the both. But centroblast and centrocyte are present in a normal lymph node. That is important. Okay, so paracorticals have high endothelial cells. What are endothelial cells? What are endothelial cells? Again, I want some of you to write the answer. I'll just click whether you have written the answer or not. What are endothelial cells? Any one of you? No answers. Why so? What are endothelial cells? Yeah, blood vessel lining. Perfect. These are blood vessel lining. Okay. So now don't get confused with this point. Where we talked about the vascular architecture of a lymph node, the medullary sinus, right? Medulla. And we are talking about paracortex. So in paracortex also, endothelial cells are present because the lymph node is, having nutrition from a blood vessel from all over the areas. Okay, so we have high endothelial cells in paracortex and they are interdigitating dendritic cells also. I just showed you a picture of dendritic cell. So dendritic cell was present in the, I'll just show you if I can change the slide to the previous day. So this is a dendritic cell. It was present in the germinal center, but some dendritic cells are also present in the paracortical area. Okay. So now we talk about the pathology of lymph nodes. There are various pathology of lymph nodes. There are benign pathology and malignant pathology. So what are the malignant diseases about lymph nodes? You know about lymphomas. You know about Hodgkin's lymphomas. You know about non-Hodgkin's lymphomas, right? And metastasis in the lymph nodes. So when we talk about the benign areas, we know about infections of lymph nodes, and now the most important point is follicular hyperplasia. So today we are going to talk about the follicular hyperplasia. Follicular hyperplasia, as the name itself says, it's self-explanatory. Normal lymphoid follicles are present, you can appreciate that. But when these normal lymphoid follicles, they increase in number and they vary in size and shape, they say it is follicular hyperplasia. Okay, so follicles vary in size and shape, they increase in number, they become bigger also. Okay, so well-defined margin, they are surrounded by small lymphocytes. So small cells and large lymphoid cells are present with cleaved nuclei, and then when follicular hyperplasia occurs, phagocytosis comes in place, and macrophages we can appreciate in that. And intervening areas means the area between the two follicles, they have small and large lymphocytes with prominent capillary venues. Okay, so now here we can appreciate. So this black ladder you can see. So this whole thing is a lymphoid follicle. Okay, so this is a lymphoid follicle. So these are surrounded by these. What are these surrounding small cells? Again, they are surrounding small lymphocytes. Okay, so after this small lymphocyte, what is this reddish area? This reddish pinkish area. So this reddish pinkish area is the vascular architecture. So these are venules and capillary areas. Okay, so this is a lymphoid follicle. This is the interfollicular area which is having these vascular architecture, and this is a rim of small lymphocytes. Okay, so where follicular hyperplasia occurs, in which conditions? It occurs in lots and lots of conditions. Collagen vascular disorders, lymph nodes, the change happens is follicular hyperplasia. If a patient is having an infection, systemic toxoplasmosis, follicular hyperplasia. Syphilis, bacterial infection, rheumatoid arthritis, lupus nephritis, HIV infection, or Castleman disease. Okay, so all these areas we see the follicular hyperplasia. So follicular hyperplasia is not a disease actually. Follicular hyperplasia is a finding in a lot of diseases. Okay, so that is the one important point you should remember. Okay, so let's go further. So we have learned about follicular hyperplasia, and you have to remember all these conditions where follicular hyperplasia occurs. So last category was Castleman disease. That Castleman disease we are having follicular hyperplasia. So Castleman disease is a very, very important, very peculiar disease. You all must be familiar with that. So one word I will say here. Just see this picture as a whole. You can appreciate these small lymphocytes, right? So this is the germinal center. Okay. What is this? This is a vessel. Okay, this is a blood vessel, blood architecture, and this vessel is going like this, and this is like a stalk. So now remember, when you were children, and maybe now also, you must have had lollipops, right? Children eat lollipop. So what does lollipop contain? Lollipop has a stalk, and lollipop have this sugary thing. Okay, so we call Castleman disease as lollipop disease also. Why? Because this vascular proliferation forms a stalk. It is not a stalk. It is giving a resemblance of a stalk, and then in between there is vascular proliferation inside the germinal center, and then we can have these small lymphocytes. So Castleman disease are two types, hyaline type and vascular type. So this vascular type is, resemblance of a lollipop. So I think now you will not forget Castleman disease ever. So they contain large follicles and hyalinization of germinal center. These are hyalinized vessels. So it shows hyalinization of germinal centers. So this was about Castleman disease. Castleman disease, we have follicular hyperplasia. So I also told rheumatoid arthritis also have follicular hyperplasia. That's right. So in RA, we find follicular hyperplasia. We find plasma cell proliferation. Yes, students, remember, tell me, where were the plasma cells present in a normal lymph node? Before I go further, waiting for your answers. Yeah, perfect. It is a germinal center. Great. So plasma cells proliferation will be there, follicular hyperplasia will be there in RA, vascular proliferation will be there, but this vascular proliferation will not be like Castleman disease. Castleman disease में क्या था? There was a vascular proliferation hyalinized vessels in the germinal center. Okay, this is a general, non-specific vascular proliferation. Necrosis, and we can call mark of rheumatoid arthritis. Okay. So let's go further. Another disease of lymph node, most important and very common, you will see, it is called infectious mononucleosis. So this is also a non-neoplastic condition of a lymph node. So what happens in infectious mononucleosis? In this 2-3 things you have to remember. EBV virus. EBV virus with infection mononucleosis, very close communication. Okay, and this LMP1 and EBNA2, this also you have to remember. So let's see how it happens when there is a virus infection. So this virus attached with our B lymphocyte with the CD21 receptor. Then this virus goes inside with CD23 receptor and growth factor. And these virus, express these viral proteins on the surface. These expression of viral proteins are EBNA2 and LMP1. Then this further cause the polyclonal activation and proliferation. So virus starts getting proliferating. And what does it do then? So what we should do when a patient of IM would come to your OPD, you should investigate in the peripheral blood, CBC count, lymph node FNAC or biopsy, spleen examination, liver, CNS, bone marrow examination. Okay. So if you do a lymph node biopsy, what you will see in IM, again, follicular hyperplasia, you remember, that is there. But apart from follicular hyperplasia, before that we see paracortical hyperplasia. So paracortex, you remember the area between cortex and medulla? So there is marked paracortical hyperplasia in IM. Early stages will have follicular hyperplasia. There will be predominant population of small lymphocytes and plasmacytoid. So plasmacytoid cells you should not forget in IM. You should not forget immunoblasts in IM because immunoblasts are raised in IM. Lymphocytes you will see, RS cells, Reed-Sternberg cells, histiocytes and macrophages and plasma cells. Okay, so RS cells are present in Hodgkin's lymphoma, but now you also know that they are present in IM, that is infectious mononucleosis. Okay, so foci of coagulative necrosis we'll see in IM. Late stages, you will see the normal architecture of lymph node will be lost. That is effacement of architecture, effacement of lymphoid architecture. Okay, and the follicles and sinuses, but you can identify at least you can identify it as a lymph node. Okay, so let's go further. Before I go further, many take-home message for IM. First one, EBV infection, then LMP1, then paracortical hyperplasia, immunoblast. Okay. So let's go further. We'll talk about the peripheral smear. So in peripherals are very classic of infectious mononucleosis. These nucleoli here and the cytoplasm is have this anisocytosis, and this is an immunoblast. So immunoblast is a very important hallmark of infectious mononucleosis, and you can see these cells also which have these granules in the cytoplasm, which is also a very important aspect of infectious mononucleosis. So this is the bone marrow. Bone marrow here you can appreciate these small lymphocytes, and you can appreciate these blast cells, these immunoblasts and lymphoblasts, okay? And then you can appreciate these nucleoli. You can see this mirror appearance of these two nucleoli, which is giving appearance of RS-type cells, okay? So how does the patient of IM present to you? He can present with fever, he can present with sore throat, lymphadenopathy, hepatosplenomegaly, and hematological complications. Okay, so that's why lymph node and liver and spleen examination we told you, and that's why bone marrow examination is also indicated in IM. Okay, so paracortical hyperplasia, I think you can understand as the name suggests. Okay, the area between the cortex and the medulla, that area hyperplasia occurs. So there will be increase in interfollicular elements. Then there will be increase in interfollicular elements. What does it do? It will compress the cortex. And when it compresses the cortex, what will happen? There will be the normal lymphoid follicles which are present in the cortex, they will be compressed. So those follicles will become small in size. Okay. So paracortical hyperplasia can be a focal thing, nodular. It can be a diffuse, and there are increased subcortical infiltrates. Okay. So paracortical hyperplasia also seen in IM, but it is also seen in dermatopathic lymphadenitis. It is also seen in reaction to malignancy, viral infection, that is IM, okay, and drug reactions. Okay, so which virus was important in IM? That is EBV virus. Okay, so first we talked about infectious mononucleosis in whole. Then paracortical hyperplasia was an important aspect of IM. But now we have learned the conditions in which paracortical hyperplasia occurs. 4 conditions: dermatopathic lymphadenitis, reaction to malignancy, viral infections like EBV causing IM, and then drug reaction. Okay, so little bit about dermatopathic lymphadenitis. See, dermatopathic lymphadenitis, the most common thing what you appreciate in this slide is, fill in the blank. What is the most important thing you appreciate in this slide? First thing. Yes, anyone? I'll show with the arrow also. But anyone you can, yeah, very good. The brown deposits. Okay. So dermatopathic lymphadenitis. So brown deposits is very important. So these are the brown aspects. These are the pigments you can see. So this is dermatopathic lymphadenitis. The main hallmark of dermatopathic lymphadenitis is these are brown deposits. Okay. So this is the capsule of the lymph node you can appreciate. You can appreciate these mature lymphocytes. Okay. And then you can appreciate these vessels. Okay. These reddish vessels. And I think there is a slight effacement of the architecture also. You cannot very much clearly appreciate the discrimination between cortex and medulla. So slight effacement of architecture, presence of this mature lymphocyte and this brown deposit, this pigment. So this pigment is a hallmark of dermatopathic lymphadenitis, and there is paracortical hyperplasia, remember. So what is the point of the paracortical hyperplasia you are appreciating here? Yes? What is the point of paracortical hyperplasia you can appreciate here? Paracortical hyperplasia happening in dermatopathic lymphadenitis. Brown deposits you can see. But paracortical hyperplasia is there or not in this slide. What are the points to justify that? Anyone? Yes, anyone? I'm waiting for your answers. No answers. What did we learn about paracortical hyperplasia? What is there in the paracortex? See, paracortical hyperplasia, we talked about vascular proliferation. Okay, so this is vascular proliferation is there. And if we do a zoom out, if we do see this area in the high power, we can see plasma cells. You know, the cells which are present in the paracortical, they are predominant. Okay, so that is paracortical hyperplasia in dermatopathic lymphadenitis. Okay. So let's go further. Metastatic deposit is very easy to identify. Okay. So this is the capsule, you can appreciate. Very easy. Capsule के बाहर क्या है? These are adipose tissue, fat cells. Okay. This is a normal lymphoid follicle, right? ये red क्या है बीच में? These are the vessels. Okay. These are interfollicular areas. But what is this? What is this? Which I am showing in the arrow. What is this? Anyone would like to type it in the question box? Yes. I'm just waiting to see your responses. Yes. Right. Invasion. Yes, Sheetal is writing it perfect. So these are the invasion. So what is the most important point to note here? Where the metastasis is there, as I mentioned before, metastatic deposits are appreciated first of all below the capsule. Okay, this is very important here. You can see this metastatic deposit below the capsule, but still the architecture of lymph node is well maintained. There is no effacement of lymph node. You can appreciate the cortex, you can appreciate the lymphoid follicles, you can appreciate the medulla. But when these metastatic deposits proliferate, then it will involve whole of the lymph node, and whole of the lymph node will be converted into this malignancy, and then you cannot say that it is a lymph node or a carcinoma, because whole of the lymph node will be converted into the malignancy. Okay, so that is one important point. So let's go further. The next entity we'll talk about sinus histiocytosis, which is very, very important non-metastatic condition of lymph node. So there will be expansion of medullary sinus histiocytosis. So you remember the normal components of medulla? Okay, there were vascular nutrition is there, vascular supply is there in medulla. So there are histiocytes are present and the vessels are present. There is proliferation of both histiocytosis also and vascular areas also. So sinus histiocytosis is seen in what conditions? It is seen in malignancy. It is seen in chronic infection, that is Rosai-Dorfman disease. So Rosai-Dorfman disease is a very important disease. All of you must be well versed in that. And the classic hallmark of Rosai-Dorfman disease is sinus histiocytosis. Now this is classic histopath. Now I want all of you to please mention in the chat box that what you can appreciate in this slide, and then I'll show you all cells by the arrow. Anything you can see in this slide? What are the things you can appreciate in this slide? Okay, I'll show this. ये जो मैंने arrow किया है ना, ये कौन से cells है बताओ? Let's start with these areas. I hope you can appreciate my arrow. I don't know whether you can see or not. Okay, you can see giant cells. Okay, what are the cells you can see? Just write it down. You can see small lymphocytes. Very good. That's perfect. You can see B lymphocytes, right? अच्छा, अब मैं arrow करती हूँ. ये cell कौन सा है? अगर मेरा arrow दिख रहा है तो बस tell me what is this? ये बहुत important चीज है. ये क्या है? If you can see my arrow, giant cell. Okay. Okay. चलो अब करते हैं Rosai-Dorfman. See. We'll start from here. These are small lymphocytes. ठीक है? ये small lymphocytes हैं सारे. ये सारे vascular proliferation है, बीच के vessels हैं. ये आपके histiocytes हो गए. ठीक है? फोमी साइटोप्लाज्म है, ये सारे आपके हिस्टोसाइट्स हैं. अब हम आते हैं इंसेक्ट में. ठीक है? इंसेक्ट में क्या दिखाया है जो मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट है? दिस इज द इंसेक्ट. ओके, इन इंसेक्ट ये डार्क ब्लैकिश जो है फिर से स्मॉल लिम्फोसाइट्स है. ये जो है इतना सा ये मैक्रोफेज है. लेकिन ये जो आप कह रहे थे ना जाइंट सेल है बच्चों, दिस इज नॉट अ जाइंट सेल. दिस इज अ क्लासिक हॉलमार्क. दिस इज अ क्लासिक हॉलमार्क ऑफ दिस कंडीशन, और जिसको हम कहते हैं एम्पेरिपोलिसिस. ठीक है? एम्पेरिपोलिसिस इज द क्लासिक हॉलमार्क ऑफ दिस कंडीशन. ओके, Just give me a second. I'll just mention that to you. Okay. So इसमें एम्पेरिपोलिसिस में क्या होता है, इसमें फेगोसाइटोसिस होता है. ये एक मैक्रोफेज है, बट दिस मैक्रोफेज हैज एनगल्फ्ड ऑल टाइप ऑफ सेल्स. ओके, इसने क्या, इसको क्या एनगल्फ करते हैं, ये लिम्फोसाइट्स को एनगल्फ कर लेंगे, न्यूट्रोफिल्स को. यू कैन सी इस्नोफिल्स आल्सो, यू कैन सी एनगल्फमेंट बाय द स्मॉल मैक्रोफेजेस आल्सो. सो एनगल्फमेंट ऑफ lymphocytes, neutrophils, RBCs by a macrophage is a condition known as emperipolesis, and this is a classic hallmark of Rosai-Dorfman disease. Okay, so this is the important point. So Rosai-Dorfman disease, you can see sinus histiocytosis. अब sinus histiocytosis यहाँ पे क्या है? You can see this histiocytic proliferation. ये दिख रहे हैं ना हिस्टोसाइट 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, तो ये सारे हिस्टोसाइट प्रोलिफरेट हो रहे हैं. फिर ये वेसल्स प्रोलिफरेशन है एंड एम्पेरिपोलिसिस. ओके, सो 3 वर्ड्स में हम रोजाइडोफमेन को समराइज कर सकते हैं: साइनस हिस्टोसाइटोसिस, साइनस प्रोलिफरेशन एंड एम्पेरिपोलिसिस. अब मेरा एक क्वेश्चन है थोड़ा सा आउट ऑफ बॉक्स. अगर ये तो मैं कह रही हूँ मैक्रोफेजेस हैं बहुत सारे, इफ आई एम कंफ्यूज्ड वेदर दे आर मैक्रोफेज और नॉट, मैं क्या कर सकती हूँ कंफर्मेशन के लिए? व्हाट कैन आई डू? आई एम वेटिंग फॉर योर रिस्पॉन्सेस. व्हाट कैन आई डू? So yes, MPS staining. No. This is not the answer. IHC is the answer, but IHC में क्या करेंगे बच्चे? In IHC, what we will do? कौन सा स्टेन लगाएंगे IHC में, so that you can see, you can confirm it is a macrophage or not. No, Prussian blue stain for तो आयरन के लिए करेंगे ना, हमें तो हिस्टोसाइट्स को कंफर्म करना है ना. अगर ये सेल है और मुझे कंफ्यूजन है कि ये हिस्टोसाइट है कि नहीं, तो मैं कौन सा टेस्ट लगाऊंगी आईएचसी में? My question is this. See, sometimes you get confused whether it is a histocyte that is macrophage or not. How will you confirm? Because histocytosis तो होता है ना रोजाइडोफमेन में, तो how will you confirm? Any confirmatory test? आईएचसी का हिंट दे रहे हैं ना. आईएचसी में क्या करोगे बच्चे? आप साइटोकेमिस्ट्री दैट इज स्पेशल स्टेन के आंसर दे रहे हो, पास एसएसबी, ये नहीं. आईएचसी में बताओ. आईएचसी बायोप्सी की स्लाइड है ना आपके सामने, तो बायोप्सी में आप इम्यूनोहिस्टोकेमिस्ट्री करेंगे, कौन सा मार्कर लगाओगे जिससे आप हिस्टोसाइट्स को कंफर्म कर सकते हो. सिंपल आंसर. सो आंसर इज, एनी मोर गेसेस और शैल आई आंसर? आंसर इज CD60. नहीं, CD14 नहीं होता, CD68. Okay, CD68 is IHC marker for macrophages और histocytes. ठीक है, तो रोजाइडोफमेन डिजीज हो गया. ये एम्पेरिपोलिसिस है, फेगोसाइटोसिस. You can see histiocytic proliferation. You can see the sinus, that is a vascular proliferation. Okay, so histiocytosis is a very important disease. So now we talk about the infections of lymph nodes. So bacterial infections you all know. TB, syphilis, brucella. Virus में IM हमने पढ़ लिया. HIV infection is a very common infection. LGV, lymphogranuloma syndrome. Fungal infections होते हैं lymph node में. Histoplasmocytosis, blastococcidio. Parasitic infections are also seen. Filariasis and toxoplasmosis. Okay. कुछ नॉन स्पेसिफिक इन्फेक्शन होते हैं, acute and chronic lymphadeninitis. So acute infections में क्या होगा lymph node के अंदर? रिएक्टिव जर्माइनल सेंटर, माइटोटिक फिगर्स बढ़ जाएंगे, टिंजिबल बॉडी मैक्रोफेजेस बढ़ जाएंगे, दैट इज अ हीलिंग एंड रिपेयर रिस्पॉन्स. पायोजेनिक इन्फेक्शन होगा, एक्यूट होगा तो न्यूट्रोफिल्स ऑब्वियसली बढ़ेंगे आपको. ठीक है, एंड प्लाज्मा सेल्स यू कैन सी. बैक्टीरियल इन्फेक्शन में एग्जैक्टली क्या होता है? मेन there are increase in the number of germinal centers, hyperplasia of paracortical T cell area, granulomatous lesion. Bacterial infection में अगर TB होगा तो obviously granuloma मिलेगा, caseous and non-caseous. Okay, and you can identify the causative organism, especially Mycobacterium tuberculosis, that you can identify in the lymph node biopsy by AFB staining and by culture also. So tubercular lymphadenitis तो आपको बहुत अच्छे से पता है. You all have learned it number of times. You can see caseating granuloma. You know granuloma consists of what? You can see giant cells, Langhans giant cells, epithelioid cells, caseous necrosis. Okay, very classical picture of TB. This is whole thing is necrosis. ठीक है, ये Langhans giant cells है, यहाँ पे granulomas बन रहे हैं, यहाँ पे epithelioid cells you can appreciate it that. ठीक है। सो HIV इन्फेक्शन, HIV इन्फेक्शन का क्लासिकल क्लिनिकल हॉलमार्क क्या होता है? परसिस्टेंट जनरलाइज्ड लिम्फोडेप्थी। ओके, सो इनिशियल मार्क्ड रिएक्टिव फॉलिकुलर हाइपरप्लेजिया होता है, जर्मिनल सेंटर is also big, that is proliferation germinal center. Okay, and you can see marked monocyte B cell reaction in the sinus. Chronic conditions lymph nodes की कौन सी होती है? lymphocyte depletion हो जाएंगे chronic condition में, plasma cells बचे रहेंगे, लेकिन wide patent sinuses and fibrosis also takes place. Okay, so this was all about the lymph nodes. So lymph nodes में हमने क्या क्या पढ़ा? Normal architecture of lymph node, then follicular hyperplasia, then paracortical hyperplasia, dermatopathic lymphadenitis, Rosai-Dorfman disease, then bacterial, viral, fungal infections के causes, ठीक है, and then acute and chronic conditions. Okay, so now we will talk about the lymph node. So normal structure of lymph node, that is red pulp and white pulp. That is the normal histology of lymph nodes. In red pulp, what we see the network of venous sinuses lined by endothelial cells. Okay, we see the cords of Willows and macrophages. तो red pulp में आपको sinuses मिलते हैं, vascular proliferation होती है, macrophage होते हैं. White pulp में आपके cells होते हैं, that is T and B lymphocytes. Okay, so white pulp में lymphocytes होते हैं, periarterial lymphoid sheath and primary lymphoid follicles. ठीक है, सो रेड पल्प का फंक्शन क्या होता है? अब देखो, रेड पल्प में अगर मैक्रोफेजेस है तो फेगोसाइटोसिस होगा, रेड पल्प में एंटीबॉडी प्रोडक्शन, हेमाटोपोइसिस क्योंकि वैस्कुलर होता है, ठीक है। सो फेगोसाइटोसिस, हेमाटोपोइसिस एंड सिक्वेस्ट्रेशन ऑफ फॉर्म्ड एलिमेंट्स इज रेड पल्प। सो माइल्ड स्प्लीनोमेगैली वी विल अंडरस्टैंड। स्प्लीन में मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट चीज जो हमें पढ़नी है वो है स्प्लीनोमेगैली, माइल्ड, मॉडरेट एंड सिवियर। सो माइल्ड स्प्लीनोमेगैली अप टू 5 सेंटीमीटर। कॉजेज ऑफ स्प्लीनोमेगैली CCF, that is congestive cardiac failure, malaria, typhoid, SLE, ठीक है, and thalassemia minor. So these are the causes of mild splenomegaly. Okay, moderate splenomegaly के causes क्या होते हैं? Viral hepatitis, cirrhosis, lymphoma and amyloidosis. Okay, तो mild में आप मलेरिया, टाइफॉइड याद रखना, मॉडरेट में आपको सिरोसिस, लिम्फोमा, वायरल हेपेटाइटिस। तो अगर किसी को हेपेटाइटिस A, B, C, D इन्फेक्शन होता है तो उसमें मॉडरेट स्प्लीनोमेगैली होता है। Mild is up to 5, but moderate is up to 8 centimeter. Okay. Massive splenomegaly more than 8 centimeter or the weight more than 1 kg. ठीक है, तो मैसिव स्प्लीनोमेगैली में काला आजार कभी नहीं भूलना, ठीक है। काला आजार इज मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट, थैलेसीमिया मेजर, हेरी सेल ल्यूकीमिया एंड स्टोरेज डिसऑर्डर, myeloproliferative disorder and chronic malaria. So I'm slowly telling you the causes of massive splenomegaly. ठीक है, ये मैं आपको धीरे धीरे बता रही हूँ because you have to remember all the causes of massive splenomegaly. वो तो आपको याद रखने ही रखने हैं, ठीक है। So massive splenomegaly के 6 causes है: chronic malaria, काला आजार, storage disorder, thal major, hairy cell leukemia and myeloproliferative disorder. Okay, so this was all about massive splenomegaly. माइल्ड, देखो माइल्ड में भी मलेरिया है और मैसिव में भी मलेरिया है, बट मैसिव में क्रॉनिक मलेरिया है। ओके, सो पैथोजेनेसिस ऑफ स्प्लीनोमेगैली, देयर आर रिएक्टिव रेटिकुलो एंडोथेलियल सेल हाइपरप्लेजिया, लिम्फोइड हाइपरप्लेजिया होगा, लिम्फोमा सेल्स प्रोलिफरेट होंगे, एक्स्ट्रा मेडुलरी हेमाटोपोइसिस होगा एंड प्रोलिफरेशन ऑफ मैक्रोफेजेस और वैस्कुलर कंजेशन। सो कंजेशन इज अ वेरी नॉन स्पेसिफिक process we can see in spleen. Okay, तो infective cause क्या होता है spleen के? Infective endocarditis में splenomegaly होता है, pyogenic infections है, viral hepatitis है, chronic conditions we have learned syphilis and brucellosis, tropical splenomegaly and malaria, काला आजार and trypanosoma. कंजेस्टिव कॉजेज क्या होते हैं? देखिए, जितनी भी स्प्लीनेक्टमी हमारे पास आती है ना पैथोलॉजी में, सब में कंजेस्टिव जो फीचर होता है ना वो बहुत क्लियरली दिखता है हिस्टोपैथ में। ओके, सो कंजेस्टिव स्प्लीनोमेगैली, कंजेशन ऑफ स्प्लीन, वो किसमें दिखेगा आपको? इंट्राहेपेटिक ऑब्स्ट्रक्शन, पोर्टल हाइपरटेंशन में, सिरोसिस, जो कि सिरोसिस, biliary cirrhosis, hematochromatosis, PSC, that is primary sclerosing cholangitis की जैसे होगा। एक्स्ट्रा हेपेटिक पोर्टल हाइपरटेंशन के कॉजेज भी होंगे कंजेस्टिव स्प्लीनोमेगैली के। तो इंट्राहेपेटिक पोर्टल हाइपरटेंशन है, एक्स्ट्रा हेपेटिक पोर्टल हाइपरटेंशन, एंड देन chronic passive congestion because of cardiac failure. ठीक है। अब हाइपरप्लास्टिक क्या होता है स्प्लीन में? हाइपरप्लास्टिक मींस स्प्लीन इज फंक्शनिंग मोर एंड मोर, उसका हाइपरप्लेसिया हो गया। तो स्प्लीन का फंक्शन क्या, एक एक्स्ट्रा फंक्शन क्या हो जाएगा? एक्स्ट्रा मेडुलरी हेमाटोपोइसिस। ठीक है, तो एक्स्ट्रा मेडुलरी हेमाटोपोइसिस माइलोप्रोलिफरेटिव डिजीज में होगा, जो कि मैरो डैमेज की वजह से हो सकता है या मैरो इन्फिल्ट्रेशन बाय मैलिग्नेंसी। और रेटिकुलो एंडोथेलियल हाइपरप्लेसिया होगा सिकल सेल डिजीज। तो सिकल सेल डिजीज हैज अ वेरी वेरी क्लोज कनेक्शन विद स्प्लीन। ओके, तो स्प्लीनोमेगाली होती है सिकल सेल डिजीज में। सो यू कैन सी रेटिकुलो एंडोथेलियल हाइपरप्लेसिया। Okay, I just see the chat box. I think I have a question. No, nothing like that. Okay. So let's go further. Reticuloendothelial hyperplasia because of sickle cell, pseudocytosis, and hemoglobinopathy, thalassemia major, and proximal nocturnal hemoglobinuria. Okay, ये आपके हाइपरप्लास्टिक कॉजेज थे। ये सारे कॉजेज आपको याद रखने पड़ेंगे। अब नेक्स्ट है इन्फिल्ट्रेटिव कॉजेज ऑफ स्प्लीनोमेगाली। स्प्लीन इज इन्फिल्ट्रेटेड बाय मेनी थिंग्स, by malignant conditions and benign conditions. अब कौन सी malignant conditions है जिसमें स्प्लीन इन्फिल्ट्रेट होती है? CML, lymphomas, MPD, myeloproliferative disorder, angiosarcoma, tumors and mets. benign कौन सी कंडीशन होती है? गॉचर्स डिजीज, बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट, याद रखनी है आपको स्टोरेज डिसऑर्डर में, नीमेन पिग, ठीक है, amyloidosis, and cysts and fibromas, hemangiomas, hematoma and eosinophilic granulomas. तो ये बिनाइन और malignant डिजीज के आपके कंडीशंस हैं जो कि इन्फिल्ट्रेटिव कॉजेज है स्प्लीनोमेगाली के। सो स्प्लीनोमेगाली इज अ क्लिनिकल प्रेजेंटेशन बट देयर आर न्यूमरस कॉजेज ऑफ स्प्लीनोमेगाली। ठीक है, पहले आपने माइल्ड मॉडरेट सीवियर कॉजेज पढ़े, ठीक है, माइल्ड मॉडरेट सीवियर, then pathogenesis, then infective causes splenomegaly, congestive causes splenomegaly, hyperplastic और फिर ठीक है। अब हाइपरस्प्लेनिज्म क्या होता है? इट्स अ कॉम्बिनेशन ऑफ दिस फोर प्रोसेस। स्प्लीनोमेगाली होगा पैनसाइटोपिनिया, हाइपरसेलुलर मैरो, एंड देन इट रिस्पॉन्ड्स, इट रिवर्सिबल बाय स्प्लीनेक्टोमी। अगर स्प्लीन निकाल देंगे तो ठीक हो जाएगा। ठीक है, तो ट्राइड क्या हो गया इसका? स्प्लीनोमेगाली, पैनसाइटोपिनिया एंड हाइपरसेलुलर मैरो। Splenomegaly, pancytopenia and hypercellular mallow, and then it reversal by splenectomy. So this was hypersplenism. It is caused by portal hypertension. Portal hypertension के बहुत सारे causes होते हैं. When you will talk about hepatobiliary system, you will understand that. But Chiari syndrome, cirrhosis, CCS. ठीक है? Congestive splenomegaly हमने पढ़ ली है, but that is mainly about the thrombosis of splenic means because of these causes. पोर्टल वेनिक स्टोनोसिस एंड बैंटी सिंड्रोम। बैंटी सिंड्रोम का एक शॉर्ट नोट आ सकता है आपको, जो कि इंडिया जापान में होता है। दिस इज इडियोपैथिक पोर्टल हाइपरटेंशन, इडियोपैथिक, ओके, एंड एसोसिएटेड विद फाइब्रोलास्टिसिस इन पोर्टल ट्रैक्ट, कैपिलरीज डायलेट हो जाएंगी, हाइपरस्प्लेनिज्म होगा और अनीमिया, ल्यूकोपेनिया, मतलब कि पैनसाइटोपिनिया। ओके, सो माइक्रोस्कोपी में आपको क्या दिखेगा स्किन में? सबसे पहली बात, स्किन बड़ी होगी, दैट इज द क्लिनिकल पिक्चर। कैप्सूल थिकन्ड होगा, फाइब्रस एंड फर्म। रेड पल्प जो होगा वो फाइब्रोटिक हो जाएगा, कोलेजन डिपॉजिट हो जाएगा क्योंकि फाइब्रोसिस हो रहा है, डिस्ट्रक्शन, एंड यू कैन सी द गामा एंटीबॉडीज। ओके, दैट इज द रिपेयर प्रोसेस, दैट इज द मैक्रोफेजेस। ठीक है, अब इस एरिया में आपको क्या दिख रहा है? रेड और व्हाइट पल्प यू जस्ट कैन नॉट डिफरेंशिएट, बट द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग जो प्रिडोमिनेंस है वो है कंजेशन। यहाँ पे दिख रहा है वेसल्स रेड रेड रेड, ये सारे आरबीसीज हैं। सो दिस इज कंजेशन। So this is chronic venous congestion of spleen, chronic congestion of spleen. So अगर कोई माइक्रोस्कोपिक डायग्नोसिस देने लगे तो हम क्या डायग्नोसिस देंगे? कंजेस्टेड स्प्लीन, स्प्लीन इज कंजेस्टेड। यहाँ पे आप देख सकते हो कैप्सूल थोड़ा सा थिकन्ड है, बीच में जो पिंकिश पिंकिश है ना, दिस इज कोलेजन डिपोजिशन, ये भी फाइब्रोसिस का ही पार्ट है। ये सारा बीच में पिंकिश पिंकिश सारा कोलेजन डिपोजिशन, दैट इज फाइब्रोसिस, एंड हियर यू कैन सी द कंजेशन। ठीक है, ये गामा एंटीबॉडीज दिख रही है आपको पिगमेंट वाली, क्योंकि मैक्रोफेज में पिगमेंट डिपोजिशन हो जाता है। ये सारी कंडीशंस ओवरऑल ये टेबल है बुक में, तो आप देख सकते हैं। दिस इज द कॉजेज ऑफ स्प्लीनोमेगाली जनरली। ठीक है, सो दिस वाज ऑल अबाउट lymph nodes in spleen today. So we talked about the normal architecture of lymph node. We talked about the non-neoplastic conditions of lymph node, okay, and then we talked about the splenomegaly. Okay, various causes of splenomegaly, hyperplastic causes, congestive causes, infiltrative causes, and then the microscopy. So as such, practical purpose में जब भी हमें spleen receive होती है, you know, the most common finding in the microscopy is congestion, as I showed you in this figure. Okay, thank you so much everyone. Thank you. Or then I'll wind up the class. Thank you so much. Okay, plasmacytoid cells. ठीक है, देखो प्लाज्मासाइटोइड सेल्स जो होते हैं ना, जब भी कोई वर्ड आएगा ना साइटोइड, साइटोइड मतलब उसके जैसे दिखने वाले। प्लाज्मा सेल्स का माइक्रोस्कोपी आपको पता है ना, प्लाज्मा सेल्स कैसे दिखते हैं। प्लाज्मा सेल इज अ सेल जिसका न्यूक्लियस एक्सेंट्रिक होता है, एक कोने में एक न्यूक्लियस होता है। तो ऐसे सेल जो प्लाज्मा सेल्स की तरह दिखते हैं उनको हम प्लाज्मासाइटोइड सेल्स बोलते हैं। अब वो कैसे दिखेंगे? You will see a large round oval cell with the eccentric nucleus. ठीक है, eccentric, एक कोने में उसका न्यूक्लियस होगा और abundant cytoplasm होगा। तो प्लाज्मासाइटोइड सेल्स आपको बहुत सारी कंडीशन में दिख जाते हैं। ओके, नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन इज मैम हाउ टू आइडेंटिफाई साइनस प्रोलिफरेशन। ओके, आई शो यू। देखो ये जो स्लाइड है ना, साइनस प्रोलिफरेशन मतलब कि वैस्कुलर आर्किटेक्चर है। अगर जो मैं बोल रही हूँ ना, देखो यहाँ पे ये जो है ना, जहाँ पे आपको आरबीसीज दिख रहे हैं, यू कैन अप्रिशिएट द आरबीसीज हियर। आरबीसीज के पास जो चैनल्स जा रहे हैं ना, ये सारे साइनसेस हैं। ये चैनल्स के अंदर मतलब कि ब्लड वेसल्स ही है, इस चैनल्स के अंदर ये आरबीसी बाहर आ गए हैं, इंस्पेशन हो गए हैं। सो दीज चैनल, दिस पिंक चैनल थ्रू आउट देयर, जिसके अंदर आरबीसी है, सारे साइनसेस है। सो दिस इज हाउ वी अप्रिशिएट द साइनस प्रोलिफरेशन। ओके, ये पिंक चैनल्स और कोलेजन में आप कंफ्यूज नहीं करेंगे। कोलेजन वो वाला पिंक एरिया है, ये जो है ये कोलेजन है, क्योंकि आरबीसी नहीं है, लेकिन यहाँ पे आरबीसी है। तो जिसमें आरबीसी होता है, पिंक चैनल्स होते हैं, दीज आर द साइनस प्रोलिफरेशन। ओके, सो मेंटल एंड मार्जिनल एरियाज ऑफ लिम्फ नोड इज द मेडुलरी एरिया ऑफ लिम्फ नोड। ठीक है, हमने कॉर्टेक्स, पैराकॉर्टेक्स और मेडुला की बात की थी। तो जैसे हम बाहर से अंदर आते जाते हैं ना, बाहर से अंदर, तो वहां पे मेंटल और मार्जिनल एरियाज होते हैं। मेंटल आउटर है और मार्जिनल इनसाइड एरिया है। मेंटल और मार्जिनल जोन जो है वो आपको कहाँ हेल्प करेगा? जब आप नॉन हॉजकिंस लिम्फोमा पढ़ेंगे। नॉन हॉजकिंस लिम्फोमा में मेंटल जोन मेंटल सेल लिम्फोमा, मार्जिनल जोन लिम्फोमा, ये अलग टाइप्स ऑफ एनएचएल है नॉन हॉजकिंस लिम्फोमा, जो कि हम वेरियस सीडी मार्कर्स से उसको डिफरेंशिएट करते हैं। ठीक है, सेंट्रोब्लास्ट सेंट्रोसाइट का डिफरेंस मैं बता ही चुकी हूँ आपको, नहीं? सेंट्रोब्लास्ट बड़ा होगा, ओपन क्रोमैटिन होगा, न्यूक्लियोलाई प्रोमिनेंट होगा, सेंट्रोसाइट छोटा होगा, क्लम्प्ड क्रोमैटिन होगा, न्यूक्लियोलाई नहीं मिलेगा आपको उसमें। ये दोनों सेल्स नॉर्मल कॉम्पोजिशन ऑफ लिम्फ नोड्स के होते हैं, नॉर्मल लिम्फ नोड में दिखते हैं। सेंट्रोब्लास्ट सेंट्रोसाइट्स यू कैन नॉट अप्रिशिएट इन हिस्टोलॉजी, बट यू कैन अप्रिशिएट इन द एफएनएसी ऑफ लिम्फ नोड, दैट इज लिम्फ नोड साइटोलॉजी। ठीक है, ओके, थैंक यू सो मच, बाय बाय।